Okay, now the next qualitative character that we are going to discuss today is phenology. So this is another qualitative character. Phenology, as you all know, we have already used a term called phenotype. You people have studied genotype and phenotype, where we say the external appearance is called phenotype and the genetic makeup is called genotype of a plant. Now, phenology here means logi is for study and pheno word is obviously for the morphology. Now, what kind of morphology we study in this case? We observe the recurrence of various life processes. Okay, those processes which are bringing about morphological changes in the plant. So you can observe that, like seed germination, vegetation, growth, flowering, fruit formation, fruit and seed maturation, leaf fall, seed dispersal, etc. So all these are different stages of the life cycle of a plant. So a study related to these stages, how they reoccur. Okay, at what period of time again the flowering will appear next year. So all these things, they are under the science called phenology. It is also called aspection. We use another term for this that is called periodicity. You can correlate periodicity because the recurrence of all these events is there, and this is in relation to season, so we also called it seasonality. So these are the different names of phenology. You can get any or out of these for definition. What is phenophase? Now all these phases, what I mentioned here in all these stages, they are called phenophases. So if we want to define, we say that each phase of life cycle of a plant is called phenophase. Okay, so it may include seed germination, it may have fruit formation, flower formation, seed dispersal, any stage. Okay, each stage will be called phenophase. Now, as I told you that the other name of physiology is aspection. Now, from where this word arises? This is from the word aspect. What is aspect? Let's suppose you visit a forest area. Okay, you went for trekking or for just having vacations, you went to a forest area. Now you visited that area in summer. Then you visited that in winter, in autumn. Now you can simply say that during all these seasons, there was different morphology of that community, right? Because in summer the flowers will be blooming, they may enter into the fruiting stage. During winter they are preparing themselves and they are having the harsh environment, so less of the vegetative growth is observed. During autumn season the plants, they usually shed their leaves or they are showing slow metabolism, that's why the growth is retarded. Means you can yourself observe change in the morphology of that community during different seasons. So that means the different parts of years. So the definite appearance of a community means appearance in summer, then appearance in winter, right? So the definite appearance of community in different parts of the year is called its aspect. From there the word, the study of the aspects of a plant community throughout the year and the occurrence of those events, that is called aspection, which we have defined as phenology. Okay, so at a particular season, what is the outlook of that plant community? What is its structure? What is its morphology? That will be called its aspect. Now, according to different seasons, so this is based on the seasons. According to different seasons, we have total 5 aspects under phenology. Pre-vernal, this is the appearance of that community during early spring. Vernal, during spring season. Estival. You people have used the word estivation, where we say it is the summer sleep. So during summer season, you won't write here summer sleep, okay? I'm not talking about the inactivity during the summer period. I'm talking about the morphology of the plant community during summer season. So that will be called its estival aspect. Then serotinal. This is during the autumn season, how the community looks. Then hibernal or hymal. So for this you have used the word hibernation. So hibern means it is related to the winters. So during winter, what is the outlook of the community? So accordingly, we have 5 different aspects of plant communities. Now, what is the significance of studying phenology? See, we are not measuring anything here. I told you this is a qualitative character, and here we only observe. Okay, we cannot measure. We cannot measure the outlook, right? So you understand the difference of a quantitative and qualitative character. Now, what is the significance of phenology? The significance is that if we look at the structure or morphology of a community at different seasons, for example, I am observing that community during the spring season, early spring, and during the autumn season, then I can tell what is the association amongst various populations there. Let's suppose during the spring season, I observed total 10 species growing in that area. And during the autumn season, there were only 5 species growing. Only 5 remained. That shows that there is a severe competition during that phase, right? So what is the correlation amongst different populations living in that community that can be determined from phenology? It may be competition if the number of species has reduced. It may be association. If you observe, let's suppose you observe 10 species here. When you visited during the autumn period, there were again 10 species. It means they are positively associated. They are living in a positive interaction, so there is no competition. So, what is the level of competition amongst the populations in a plant community? That can be determined with the help of phenology. The next parameter under the qualitative characters is vigor and vitality. Now these are 2 terms. Okay, firstly we will define them. What is vigor? Vigor is the state of health of different stages in the life cycle of a plant. Okay, now what is the life cycle of a plant? We start from a seed. We say that seed germinates and it results in the development of a seedling. Okay, the seedling comes out of the ground, the plumule part, the root part, it grows downwards. Then there is formation of a sapling. So you observe a small baby plant. From there you observe a proper plant. Now depending upon its habit, if it is herbaceous, shrub or tree, so accordingly it can grow. Right, so we have different life forms of this. It may be herby, it may be shrubby in nature, it may be resulting the formation of a tree. So this is a life cycle, and then it will enter into its sexual stages. It means it will result into the flower formation, and from the flower we all know after the reproduction there is formation of fruits, and within fruits there are present seeds, right, and the life cycle is complete. This is the life cycle of a plant. Okay, I am talking about the majority, the higher plants. I am not talking about the alga. Now, what is the health at all these stages? The health of a plant when it is germinating, health of a sapling, health of the plant when it is forming flowers, when it is forming fruits, what is the wife's health of the seeds? All these things, okay? So, health of different stages, that is called vigor. Now, how the vigor is determined? The vigor is determined by the rate of growth. What is the growth of the plant? You can directly say if a plant is growing properly, if it is attaining proper height, canopy, we can say that it has good vigor. Then we have turgidity. If you see plant in a fully turgid or erect form, all organs, they are retaining their proper shape. It is not that plant is looking very flaccid, dehydrated, right? So that can show you the vigor. Then damage by a disease. This is a very, very important factor. It may be some biotic or abiotic agent involved which may cause injury to the plant. And that may be because of, for example, if it is abiotic stress like chilling, very low temperature or very high temperature, that results in some kind of the injury signs in plant. Similarly, it can be biotic also. For example, many, fungi, bacteria, they cause viruses, they cause diseases to plants. So obviously that will reduce vigor of the plant. Then degree of flowering, because during flowering, maximum resources of the plants, they are consumed. So when the resources are getting consumed, then what is vigor of the plant at that stage? Does it look healthy? And what is the extent of root system? This is very, very important. Though roots, they are not visible to the naked eye. They are always, I'm saying, directly when you're looking at the plants. For majority of the plants, they are growing below soil. They are not visible. But what is the extent of that root system? We have studied that determines the extent of shoot system. Right? They are correlated. So more is the expense of roots, better will be the shoot system. So that also decides the vigor. Now, I don't remember the name of the scientist who once said that. Probably it's Darwin, I don't remember. Who said that if plants had brain, then it must be in the roots of the plant. Because all kind of the signaling, all kind of the absorption of the minerals, waters, right? That is all communicated. It starts from the surface of roots. If roots are unhealthy, the plant cannot survive. So, had there ever been brain in plants, then it would be located in the roots. So, that is the purpose. We are saying that roots are also very, very important, though we cannot see them directly in the fields, but they are the crucial part in determining vigor of the plants. Now, the second term is vitality. What is vitality? Okay, vigor was the health of the plant at different stages. Vitality is whether that plant is capable to complete its life cycle. As I told you in the previous slide that this is the life cycle of a plant. Means it has to start from a seed, it should end with a seed. That means its life cycle is complete. Now, is the plant capable of completing its life cycle? That will be called its vitality. So, on that basis, depending upon vitality, we have 5 different classes of plants. We'll start from the most common one, V5. V5 is, as you observe, the majority of the plants, they produce seeds. They complete their life cycle. So, they are reproducing sexually very well. So, they are all under V5, most of the angiosperms. Then we have V4. V4 are the plants which reproduce sexually, but only feebly, right? They have seed production, but all of the seed may not germinate. So, the success rate is low. Then we have V3. V3 is plants which multiply by vegetative methods only. Means they are completing their life cycle. They are giving rise to offsprings, but the only means is vegetative propagation. It is not via means of the sexual methods. Then we have V2. V2 are the plants which grow vegetatively, but they do not multiply. Means once the plant is established, then it is not going to produce further baby plants. Its organs are not going to serve as a propagule for next generation. So they don't multiply. And V1. V1 is the plant which don't live long and they die soon. Okay. Those plants which are going to complete their life cycle in a span of few days or few weeks. What we generally call as ephemerals. They come under this category. So depending upon how the plant complete their life cycle, is it via the seed production or via the vegetative propagation, or they take years to complete their life cycle, or just within few days it is completed. On that basis, on that criteria, we have these 5 classes of vitality. So that's all for today. Okay, we'll complete other qualitative parameters in next lecture.